Hello and welcome to another
There we
episode
go.
of the Plus 63 HP podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jong Clemente. Alongside with me is my bestest best friend in the entire world, Chubax. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. Yeah, happy to be here. Excited for our topics and exhausted, but still here.
Another weekend for both of us. But if this is your first time traversing through our channel, thank you very, very much for the view. And if you do not know yet, the Plus 63 HP stable of podcasts includes
Stable.
this reviews podcast that drops Mondays and Tuesdays, where we dive into a show or a movie, provide our review, our ratings, our opinions, discuss it a little bit, and hopefully or you get to know whether you should watch it yourself or with your friends and your family. We also have a D&D show, our very, very first D&D campaign. We recorded it. We put it on YouTube and on podcasting services so you guys can join on the adventure. We drop those episodes on a Wednesday. On Thursdays, we have a curated list of clips, featurettes, trailers, short videos of upcoming content, so we know what things we can be hyped up on coming down the pipe. And if one D&D campaign is not enough, Chubax and our other bestest best friend RJ spun off another D&D campaign that drops every Friday where they play as bad guys. So with that, almost every day of the week, you'll have new content where you can join us, interact with us, discuss with us as we continue to grow this community of like-minded individuals that like content and enjoying it with their friends and family. But that is our housekeeping. This is Ye Old Review Show, where this week we will be discussing the first four episode of Netflix's multilingual
Yeah.
sci-fi thriller suspense TV series called 1899. Um, so before we dive into the actual show, so a bit of stats, as mentioned, 1899 dropped on the 17th of November 2022 on Netflix, on all your streaming services. It is a period drama. It is a mystery. It has a little bit of supernatural horror, science fiction. It's quite an epic. Um, it has so many original languages. It's super fun. Like you'll hear German, Spanish, French, English, Cantonese, Norwegian, Swedish. There's so much. It's
Such.
super fun. It is directed by Baron Bo Odar. For those who might be familiar, he is, along with a lot of the different directors and producers of another German sci-fi timey-wimey show
One of the
called
best
Dark.
shows ever.
One of the best. So if you have not seen Dark, um, it's a tough watch, but it's one of those amazing sci-fi time travel series. It's only 3 seasons. It's great. You can watch it multiple times because you might have to understand. But 1899 is of the same ilk. So again, 8 episodes ranging from 50 to 62 minutes, right? Um, and yeah, it's mainly a German production, mainly shot in the United Kingdom. And even just watching the first 4 episodes, I already know it's going to be one of those, either you super like it or it's really not into you, it's really not for you. Before we go through, or before Chubax goes through the synopsis for us, Chubax, for those who haven't seen 1899, how would you pitch this? What is, who should watch this and why should they watch 1899?
If you like sci-fi, if you like a mystery, or if you like uh, yeah, suspense. It's everything. Like I love it. It's not really hedging too much on one side, but
Mhm.
it's a good combination, and the mix as well is I think is well done.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of those shows where you have to use a little bit of your brain, but because it is entertaining enough, it is visually stunning, right? It
Mm-hmm.
is shot very well. The actors also are extremely talented. Like, you can really see how engaging they are. So even if there's a lot of flashbacks, time jumps, weird dreams, weird sequences, you kind of get engaged with the characters that you see on screen. But as I mentioned, it's really it's one of those shows where you can't watch passively, or you're going to miss the point of the actual show. So this is one of those shows that will force you to sit down, slow down, turn your phone off, or put your phone face down, watch the actual screen.
So did
uh,
you start with the original audio now?
No, yeah. So when we were talking about it, so we were supposed to discuss episode by episode, but we both got busy and wanted to do a bunch. I saw the first two episodes English dub because, again, I was wanted to relax. I didn't want to watch the screen the entire time, but of course, following your advice, I saw the second two original, and it's way better.
Right? It makes
It's
more
way better.
sense than
It's
like
just the idea of, like, they're traversing from one language to the other. They're conversing in different languages. I really enjoyed. I haven't really seen that
I
in
know that's what
a
I was.
show.
I wanted to ask you. Like, I don't remember where there's like multiple languages, and they're just sticking with it, which I like. And sometimes they don't even understand each other. But they don't force
and
it.
and I think that's where I got lost, because sometimes in the first two episodes, when they're talking cross culturally, and then they don't understand each other. Was like, why don't you understand each other? You're already speaking. It's like, oh shit, everybody is speaking in different languages. So it's fun, and it provides a little bit more tension. I think a lot of the top layer issues is also important to this day. Like, a lot of class, a lot of cultural differences are shown very, very early into the show. So that is just more heightened, more highlighted once you have different languages on the screen. So that's super fun. And yeah, it's I definitely know that this is only going to be enjoyable for a small subset of the Netflix viewing public. But for those who
It's
are,
in it hit number one, I think, for a while.
yeah, for a
Number
little
one.
bit,
Yeah.
yeah. But for those who are on the fence and are looking for something thriller, something sci-fi, supernatural, I think this is one of those things where this is a much better entry point to the Dark universe than Dark itself. Because Dark is rough. Dark, you can't just
Amazing,
jump
but
in.
it's rough.
Yeah, like, Dark is the first, like, one of the very few series that I'd like to think that I'm smart, but Dark is one of the few series where I literally had to watch some YouTube breakdowns to really understand what had happened. So this one is a little bit more, like, at least for the first half.
For now, I mean,
For now, yeah, it's the first
even
half.
it is first one season. Even if we reach the end, I think it's still one season.
Yeah. So and the good thing about this is, though, it's like it's occasionally criticized as slow, but it has to be for you to be, like, really invested with these many storylines, with these many main characters. So I like that, and I also like that you mentioned, like, the creators are thinking of maybe two more seasons. So much like Dark, a three
I think
season
everything. I think
thing.
it's all planned, and they just maybe seeing how much they can cut or they can edit it so that. But I'm pretty sure everything's planned like Dark,
Yeah.
because
So if
you're
we
gonna
want
stumble
to,
if you didn't plan it. Like a
that's
la
true.
Lost,
Yeah.
it's like going nowhere. I think in Lost they were just throwing mysteries for, oh, we'll figure it out at the end. But this one, I'm sure they have it all planned out because it's gonna be on a really bad knot. If
100%. And I think the creators of this show already has their cachet with Netflix,
mm,
just because of how Dark came about. Like, it is difficult, it is rough, but if you really go through, it makes sense soup to nuts. Like, so it's like the first episode to the last episode, everything there's you don't feel that it was not planned from the very get go. But before we go through your synopsis and what we think about what we thought about the first four episodes of 1899, the one thing that I did want to raise stat wise is as soon as 1899 came out, and we were both very hyped about it. We were very excited on what it was going to be. We already planned that we were going to do a breakdown of this um, series. There was a controversy around uh, it being plagiarized because the story itself is almost as I don't have we have both haven't seen the entire series, but at least even from the first few episodes, you can really see that um, there are themes with a Brazilian comic book called Black Silence that are exactly the same, right? It is both on a ship named Kerberos. It is both set in 1899. It is both because there was the other ship called Prometheus that kind of disappeared and that they found. So even just like those big broad strokes, a lot of people were very unsettled about the similarities about that. Even in the comic book Black Silence, there's also a very prominent pyramid, both in the imagery, but also in the story. But diving deep into it though is there was I did not know this, but there was actually the reason why 1899 and Black Silence picked these names of ships and what had happened because there was an actual ship called Kerberos and Prometheus in 1899 that set sailed where Prometheus disappeared.
So it's more
Um,
like why is Naruto, Luffy, and Goku like
exactly,
eating
exactly.
a lot
Um,
and joyful because they're all based from the Monkey King, something like that.
100%. Yeah, and so that was one of the main things. The only kind of theme that was might have been lifted directly from Black Silence was the
Yeah,
pyramid. Uh all right, but the pyramid imagery. But you could say that that is more coincidental because there's a lot of shows that are using um pyramid or ancient structures as form of to push drama and mystery and whatnot. So from there, I was reading Screen Rant's breakdown about the similarities and differences about it. That is kind of where the similarities end. The Black Silence's stories move more towards. They say it is much more. Oof, uh, it is much more the thing. So I'm thinking that Black Silence has more of like a monster aspect of it rather than 1899, right? And it's more about interstellar, right? So while 1899 is more about interstellar, right? So a little bit more of like timey-wimey stuff rather than a monster-driven thing. So with that in mind,
So is this more like the people banging again when the creators of Black Silence didn't even say anything because they knew that they lifted it from the same and like they were inspired by the same thing instead of
probably, yeah. I mean, the idea of it is the giant themes again are a little bit too similar, right? So if I read Black Silence and I saw the first episode and then wait, Kerberos and Prometheus, wait, pyramid, wait, people disappearing, right? You jump immediately into the conclusion without really like watching through the entire series yet or reading through. But it's also concerning because the writer of Black Silence did not realize that there was 1899 until people started complaining how similar they were. Um, so that's kind of where I will stop because I'm starting to see a few themes in what they were describing 1899 as, and I didn't want to spoil myself for the last four episodes because I'm actually thinking of watching the next four episodes right after this right after we record. But with that, Chubax, give us a quick rundown of what had happened the first half of 1899.
So yeah, I will try to run this fast. But we're basically it's 1899, October 19. There's a ship called the Kerberos sailing from England to New York City. And the basic theme is that 4 months ago, its sister ship, which is basically like a ship designed the same way, was lost 4 months earlier and never been found. And now we go to Kerberos where we meet the passengers and the crew, and they eventually get the signal that's like coordinates, and then they find the Prometheus, the missing ship. And there's like when they see it, there's no response or anything that they can visibly see. So we meet some characters like Maura. She's like a doctor, but then in those times women weren't really respected, and
They're not
she
allowed to
studied,
be
but she
doctors.
didn't. She studied to be one, but she's not one. We meet the captain, who one of the main characters from Dark, playing Ike, and he's one of those gruff man with a past, like alcoholic, little bit, but you kind of feel for him immediately, like very endearing. And then we meet some of the first class people. There's like um which really uh like I like the small details. Like there was this one pair, apparently like a mother and a daughter,
Mm.
and the daughter was dressed as Japanese, but they were speaking in Cantonese. It was
In
like
Cantonese. See, I didn't catch that until
because you were reading it, yeah.
episode three when I switched to original language because it says Cantonese. Like, wait, what?
Yeah,
It's
so
like
like it was this wrong, but then everything has a purpose, So we meet them. We meet a husband and wife who aren't really what they appear. Well, most of them aren't what they appear to be, but husband and wife who are not happy. That's Lucian and Clemens. We meet um who else? We also meet Oleg, who's in the team room, and then we meet
Dublin Coal.
yeah, we meet also like the economy class passengers. I think they're from Norway, Dutch, or they're Dutch,
Yeah,
and
it looks like Norway. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like a religious group, and one of them had a problem, like a pregnant. One of them was pregnant and had pain, and when one of the brother of the pregnant woman not escape, but like went over to the first class looking for a doctor. Nobody responded, even the real doctor. So Maura was the one who came and helped her. And then there we find the Prometheus, and Ike wants to investigate it. And he goes with Maura, Jerome, another guy who was pretending to be a deck officer but snuck in the ship. Oleg, I think,
French,
in French, and Oleg, who is Polish, I think.
Polish. Yep.
So they go into the Prometheus, and they see this. They see that the telegraph is destroyed, so they don't know who was sending the signal. Maura finds like a green scarab beetle, and then when they open it, they find a boy locked behind a cabinet with a black tetrahedron. So that's the first episode, the ship. Next is
People
the
saying
boy.
pyramid. It's a tetrahedron.
Tetrahedron, no. So next is the boy. Episode the boy. Ike, the captain, receives a message from the shipping company. Only two words: sink the ship. But
Sink ship.
yeah, sink ship. But apparently, so we get into his backstory also that he had three daughters, I think, and a wife, and they all died in the fire. Like a few years or a few months ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
But he's having visions, especially since they found Prometheus. He's having visions. He's seeing his daughter, and he thinks it's connected with Prometheus. So decides not to follow. Wants to investigate more, so doesn't decide. He decides not to follow the company and tries to pull Prometheus back to England, right? Because they were England to
Mm.
America. So he reverses course, much to sorry, much to everybody's anger, because everybody wants to get to America for their own reasons. And he finds like a ribbon from his daughter
Her
on
daughter.
Prometheus,
Mhm.
and he starts seeing her on the ship. He doesn't know if he's going crazy or what. And then uh the boy has a tattoo of the triangle with the line on the back of his head or ear. And then in the episode, sorry, the first episode ends with a stranger apparently making it look like he swam from the second survivor from Prometheus swam from Prometheus to Kerberos, and nobody knows that he is in the ship in Kerberos. So he meets Maura and he introduces himself as Daniel.
Is he named Stranger?
No,
Or does he have a
Daniel. I think he said
Daniel?
Daniel Solis. And then after that, we also have the Spanish brothers, Angel and was it Ramiro?
Ramiro.
Ramiro, who appears to be brothers, and one Ramiro is a priest.
Priest.
But we find out that I think they're in a relationship.
I think they're gay lovers, and
Yeah, and
my
they ran
understanding is
away.
that
But
they're escaping ridicule. Yeah.
and Angel is promiscuous.
Very
He finds
horny boy.
an attraction with Crester, one of the economy class. Um, he's probably a boy. Like he's still young,
Very young. Mhm.
and he has a scar on his face, but it attracts Angel. And then we see that Jerome is connected to Lucien. He leaves like a military medal into their room. Uh, then Ike, the captain, finds a secret hatch under his bed with a symbol of the company, which is a triangle with a line, and it leads to like a tiled room, but there's nothing in it.
Nothing
Like,
in
it's
it.
so weird. Uh, Tove, we forgot. Tove is the economy class woman who's pregnant, and it's like the sister of Crester. And she knows that Crester, I guess, is gay. I think I mean that it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious. So I think it's one of the reasons they're moving to America to maybe hide to keep him away from his sins. I don't know, something like that. But their
Mm.
family is very religious, and the mom is like apparently hearing God, something like that. And then Jerome is discovered and is captured. Uh, Apparently, Maura has a letter from her brother, I think, right?
Yep.
Telling
The
her
brother that
about
she's looking for.
yeah, and telling her to be in Kerberos. We also find that Captain Ike also has a letter with the symbol, same style of letter, same handwriting. But I don't think we read anything yet. What
I
was
don't.
in
I
his
haven't seen the insides of
yeah.
it.
And then what else? Or found okay, so he's very suspicious of the company and of Prometheus. So as I said, he decides to tow Prometheus back to England, and everybody's angry. And then they find that one of the economy, the Dutch one girl is dead with no apparent reason for dying. And then elsewhere, yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. The scene, episode 2 scene ends with someone monitoring the occupants on TV screens. Like
Yep.
really, really weird. We haven't gotten back to that. I think in the next episodes. Episode 3 is the fog. So once they find that Ada's death has no determinate cause, they said as a big fog suddenly appears and they have to stop. There's no direction. Their compass is
Their
wonky.
compass is not. They can't see the stars. They
Yeah, I
don't
think
have a
it's also
compass for direction.
connected with Bermuda Triangle, right? I mean, the signs.
I would think so. Yeah.
So Ike shows Maura the hairband, but she thinks that he's just seeing things. Um, they go back to Prometheus, and he finds the logbook, but he finds a reason to distrust Maura. I like that he opened up immediately to Maura, like like
And it's practical,
yeah,
right?
because like
It's
you think he'd keep it, but I was surprised he told her about it, and then she said that you might be seeing things because from what they're experiencing, it's like it's immediately obvious that they're like kindred spirits. They're looking for something
I
together.
think that's exactly what I think what Ike wanted to do is like, hey, I'm having visions.
What about
Are
you?
you
Yeah, yeah.
having
Which she is, I think,
visions?
also. But
Yeah.
he does find the logbook and the finds her name on the occupants of the Prometheus. So he
How so here's the thing. So that's one of the few things that was a little too convenient. So the entire thing was burnt except for or possibly that page with the front page saying the
the
occupants of the Prometheus was not burned, and you could the next page was where room 1011, which was exactly the
same
room where
room.
Maura
All
is
right.
in right now, is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So next is uh first okay, so they head back, they find that logbook with Maura's name on it in the same room. And then we get more stories about Li Ying, and that her story is her friend. I think is it friend or sister? I'm not sure.
Sister.
I think it's her sister who works in a brothel in China was being brought to America by her pimp,
Mm-hmm.
the one of the other first class women. But Li Ying was so jealous that she wanted her sister to fall asleep so that she can take her place.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're lying to the pimp, and you get what you ask for. She's having issues with her mom, and then uh we have a nice connection between Oleg and Liang, but there's a language barrier there. I do like Oleg, and then France, one of the like the enforcers of the deck of the crew. I did like this move, like him telling Tove and the other people about Ada's death.
Yeah.
It's a very empathetic thing to do. And
He
then
I think he is part of the working class, right? So he
yeah, so
understands
he
how
understands.
important the loss of a person is. Plus, compounded with the fact that he wasn't in agreement with what the captain is doing about the direction of the ship. So I think he was just pushed over the edge.
And then we have a nice, well, not a nice, a more uh, sensual tries between Crester and Angel, between a
Mm-hmm.
fence, or between
It's a nice
what
imagery.
kind of
There's
door
like
that?
like a cage door, right?
Yeah.
Like so it's a nice imagery about both of them are behind bars with in
Mm-hmm.
terms of their sexuality, jacking each other off. So it's cool.
And then we find bodies start dropping from in the Kerberos, which is the same way as Ada. No prominent reason. Um, and then we get a nice connection between Li Ying and Lucien saying that he's dying with a seizure. I guess maybe has a brain tumor or something. And then everybody's now angry with Ike, so all the captain's decision, so they make a mutiny. And the stupid thing here was, if you make a mutiny, fine, but why did they arm the Dutch, the religious, the people?
I will. So I think that's in the next episode. Started the next episode, but I love that idea about he. France doesn't know what he's doing. He's a dum dum.
No,
He
no,
just
no.
wanted,
Oh, no, I'm not criticizing the writing. I'm criticizing his decision, which
yeah.
is, as you said, he's the even the first mate said, "You don't know what you're doing. You're over your head." And is so
You
stupid.
there's so many nations, so many languages, and you armed all of them. It's gonna be war. It's great. So I mean, I think he just wanted to get soldiers. Now he got soldiers, but thing is like none of it is under his control. So it's gonna be weird.
Yep. And so, oh, they're third classes. Term here is third class. And then Oleg attempts to harm the captain, but is beaten and locked up with Jerome. Ramiro is warns Ike, but they're also arrested. And then Daniel, using a device, like a sliding puzzle device,
Right.
teleports. Was it Kerberos or Prometheus?
Kerberos away from
Kerberos.
Prometheus. So he teleported. You'll find out the next episode. He teleported Kerberos to where
Oh,
they initially heard the distress signal of
so they're on back on their way to
Prometheus.
America.
Mhm.
Episode 4 is the fight. So here we have just lots of mutineers versus our intrepid. I don't know if they could call it heroes, but yeah, France forces Jerome and Oleg throw bodies overboard. Um, and then the first mate trying to control the situation, but he does have like a connection with the company, so I'm sure he has like ulterior motives here.
Yeah, that
And
was in the last episode, right?
he
The
was
end
sending the
scene of the
signal.
last episode. He was sending messages
Yeah,
with up and down triangles.
I don't know how you can make messages with that, but and then so he convinces that he convinces Iben, the mother of the third class passengers, that the boy is to blame for the deaths. So she takes commands of the mutineer and does the religious zealot thing and harass everybody looking for the boy. Lucian finds the medal, and we find more about his backstory, where he and Jerome were good friends and soldiers in a war, and Lucian wanted to run away because it was war.
It
He
was
wanted
war.
to live, yeah. So, but Jerome is more of a noble guy and doesn't want to desert. So Lucian betrays him and leaves him to rot in prison. And then so that's why Jerome is here. It's like acting revenge or maybe justice. And then they didn't find the boy though. Maura discovers that the boy knows about the shaft under her bed. That there is also a shaft under her bed. Then the boy helps Maura to go for the captain using the Scar Beetle, who's guiding them throughout the ship. Uh, yeah. And then Crester. Crester's the one that I really hate the most because he's the coward.
Yeah,
He's the
he's
one that
spineless. He has no
yeah, he's the one
stance
that
anyway.
insecure, and because he wants his mother's love even though he doesn't get it, tries to do what he knows is wrong. So uh Jerome is bonding with Clemens, Lucian's wife, and they find Ike, the captain, and Ramiro, and then later Maura and the boy. They try to escape, but they're found by the mutineers. The boy surrenders himself. um Jerome is intervened in the shot, but it's on the shoulder. So he's alive, and he saves everybody. And typical religious zealots, they do like a ritual where they're gonna throw the boy overboard, and the others come in and fight. But the Eden is able to successfully throw the boy, who doesn't even put up a fight. And I like this also, that after the boy is thrown, like there's no point in fighting, and so everybody stopped the fight,
Retreat.
and they all went their separate ways for now. And I also like that Ike just starts confronting Maura about it. Maura is a little coy. She says it's impossible, but we don't know what she's talking about. But then suddenly we hear a tap tap from a cabinet door, and we find the
In
boy
the bar.
with the light
The
teleport.
same place that he was found, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But in the other side, it was locked. So I guess somebody knew that he would teleport there, so they locked the door. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. That is the fight. And he
Um,
comes out and hugs Maura.
Maura. Yeah.
That is A01-99.
Initial thoughts on the first four episodes is it's right. It's slow. It's a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of characters. And the thing with having so many characters that of or international cultures, it's interesting. Like I found it interesting that we had a little bit of the French. I'm assuming that's the French Revolution, the French War or whatnot, and we have the Chinese
Trying to escape. Yeah.
courtesan, right? And there's a religious group, there's political groups, there's social political groups, so there's a lot of things that you can enjoy getting to know these people. So that's unlike I'm comparing it to Squid Game. At least the backstories of all these people is not super annoying, because I'm not a big fan of too many flashbacks. Like every episode there's like episode 3 was more of Ling Yi.
And
Uh,
and talk about, I like the flashbacks because they're short.
yeah, exactly.
They're
No,
like
but the idea
they're
of it
like
is like,
one specific scene. For
mhm.
it's like their trauma basically.
And it seems like the fog and the ship is the one that is bringing those traumas back,
Mm-hmm.
making me think that, oh, is this more like Lost, that are they in purgatory and then they are reliving, this is hell, that they will never reach their destination, they're bound to just go into circles and be faced with their stuff over and over and over again. So that's the more that they do the flashback scenes, that's what my brain keeps telling me. But I do like the idea that it is, even if it's slow, there's enough suspense, there's enough action, and there's enough introduction of different cultures to keep you engaged. But the only negative that I will put the first four episodes is, like, we're halfway and I do not know what's happening still. It can be a million. There's can be too many. There's so many things that have been introduced across the four episodes, bit by bit, like the company, like the room, the secret room, like the boy, like the tetrahedron, like the panel that they saw that was added to the ship, the panel where
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be
The
the
new
one that
retrofits.
controlling the traversal. um shall we well, before we go into our guesses, yeah, I am in, I think it's just like I'm halfway through. I would have expected to have a little bit more, but it seems like maybe they're just backloading all of these things
No,
because it is the first season, and it
we
is
have
the first season of 3.
we have been trained. You should have been trained by Dark. Everything, we're
i
not gonna
i
get
know, but
answers in the first season. Remember how first season of Dark ended? There was barely anything there.
and that's where I figured that I thought that because this is the second foray with a lot more dollars behind it, they already have a track record. I do like the 3-act structure that Dark did. First season, second season, third season, it's perfect, right? But I was hoping that they could do the same 3-act structure within the season. So I was hoping that the first 2 or 3, that's why when we spoke, right, we're talking about the first 2 episodes, and then, no, let's do 3 episodes. When I did 3 episodes, there's still nothing. So maybe let's do the fourth episode. So I thought that, maybe, episodes 1 and 2, 3 is first act, episodes 4, 5, 6 is second act, episodes 7 and 8 would be the third act. But again, like, you're right, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of mystery. It's a lot for one season to be packed in. So I figured it's fine. That's a very, very small complaint that I have. How about you? What do you think about the first 4 episodes
Oh,
before we
I'm
start
just
doing our guesses?
yeah, I'm loving it. It's what I expected, and like we said, we're not really big fans of too many flashbacks from maybe it's anime trauma, but
Mm.
these are always nice to the point and short. Uh, I did think like why how like it's a coincidence that all these interesting people are all in first are in the ship, but they all have the letter. So there is everybody has a letter. So there is a reason why they're here. Somebody put them in play, and I just I just love the melting pot. I don't like we said. I don't think we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Where Spanish, English, German, Dutch, Polish, French. Like, damn, it's just so good. I mean, I wonder how they got along on set. Like, cause like
Hmm.
I don't think they're like German actors acting as like speaking
French. Now,
as
so
friend.
there is Making of the Dark on Netflix that I'm about to watch, and we can discuss that in the next
You
series
mean
too.
eighteen
So
ninety nine,
I
not dark.
89, no,
Okay,
sorry,
yeah.
like Making of 1899. And yeah, you're right. I wanted to figure out, you know, it's tough shooting in a ship.
Mm,
Right. So I wanted to figure that out. So I wanted to see, and you're right. Like how does one direct such a multicultural cast? Right.
yeah,
So do everybody of them are bilingual?
I
Everybody knows
know.
German and something else? I'll figure it out. But that's very exciting for me.
So like, let's do a quick. Shit, it's 11. Let's do some quick guesses. What like?
Guesses. Go
It's
ahead.
just
You start.
like I don't know. The first thing that comes into my mind. It's not really a guess. It's just more like um something that makes me the show makes me think of is Event Horizon. Like it went somewhere it's not supposed to, or maybe
Mm,
brought something back, or I don't know. Like we've seen
okay.
it teleport, so something has happened. The question now is, what it's all mean. So like there is a reason like uh was this who bought the English ships? German, right? Is it Germany?
German.
A German company bought three British ships.
Yeah. A fleet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retrofitted them all. Yeah.
So there is a purpose. I don't know if they're experimenting. They're sending them
Mm,
somewhere. I still don't know how it ties to our characters though. And then like that
yeah.
boy with the scar. What is that? It's
Okay.
like is like the boy's tetrahedron. Is that like a mini ship?
Mini
Like
version of big
it
one.
can
Yeah. Of
teleport
course it
itself.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the boy, like how smart he is. Like he didn't put up a fight because he knew that he's gonna be pointed back. Um, I don't know. I guess it's like hangover from Dark. I keep thinking the boy becomes Daniel because they kind of
I'm
look the
sure that
same.
the boy is Daniel.
They do. Oh,
One
they do.
hundred
They
percent.
both have connections. Like they have
One
that
hundred percent.
connection
I
with
think
Maura.
Daniel grew up, and then something about so my thing, my guess about the ship is it is some form of uh 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 traveling to a place where you can either get eternal life or you can relive your life again, right? But you have to sacrifice X number of people. That's why it needed to do like 1,500 people is like, all right, you sacrifice these number of people and then a few people can relive their life, right? So that's or like
Oh,
traverse back.
we didn't even talk about like each episode starts with somebody either a flashback or a dream, and then they have that triangle in the eye. I don't
Oh,
even
it's
know if
true.
that's like is
I,
that
I
really
think
happening? Is
well
that
that's
just
the machine. I think the thing like the tetrahedron thing is yeah, you're right. I mean everybody has a secret, a trauma. Everybody did something heinous,
mm,
right? So that could be
yeah,
also the thing, the purgatory thing again, right? So maybe that's the reason why they're being sacrificed to the machine because they're horrible people anyway. Um,
or could this be
but the
like
one thing that I do know
oh
is the boy is Daniel.
is Daniel? I
Mm.
mean, I don't know. I guess I keep thinking dark too much. Like maybe the puppeteers are them in the future, like their old versions, but they
100%.
had to
Yep.
bring themselves in, but it's too dark though, so I don't know if it's like, but I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to rating. Let's see. I'm sure we're gonna be guessing still
Yeah,
in the next few
it's
episodes.
fun. It's the first 4 episodes. We have 4 more episodes to watch. I'm definitely gonna watch the next 4 episodes literally soon. So
Especially then.
I am going with a solid 8. It's
Holiday.
fun. It's great. I'm excited to watch more. I want to figure out what is happening. And you're right. I already know that it's the first season. We're gonna have more questions at the end than
Mhm.
answers, but I want to know a little bit more about the story. That's because that's for sure. We're gonna be push
But
forward
yeah,
the
it's good.
story for a little
It's
bit
good
more.
to know that we're not gonna get answers at the end of the season.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm gonna
we're
go with
we're, we're already expected.
I'm gonna go with a solid 9 because this is what I expected. Everything, even maybe even more because I would have gone with an 8, but because this is what I expected. But the extra flavor of all the different
Yeah,
languages and cultures popped it up for me.
yeah, same,
So yeah,
same. I
that was
really
it.
enjoyed, being I mean, I just love the diversity of this, right? That's the most important thing. Races, creeds, ages, like,
True.
you have kids, you have, old people. So this is a masterful craftsman making an ensemble. So with that is the first 4 episodes of 1899. We are going to do the second 4 episodes next week. So please join the discussion then. Watch along with us, give us your comments. We love hearing from all of you guys. And Chubax, final goodbyes.
Yeah, please watch Dark and 1899.
All right. Again, exercise your brain a little bit. Don't just like sit down and open your eyes. Think, experience. But with that, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.